Welcome to my second sketchbook tour, and this is with my first ever sketchbook. I started this sketchbook in September of 2015 and I finished it in autumn of 2016. I don't know when, I never write down the end dates, or nearly never. I only write down the starting dates. And it's a paper blank sketchbook. I got it from a friend and it's really destroyed, but it's also really fancy. Yeah, really destroyed. So the first side is not special at all. Here's the starting date and the little sticker that I got from the Gamescom, from a point and click adventure, Beer With Me. It's a really cool game, but I didn't play the other episodes. I only played the first episode. I still need to buy the other episodes and play it. I started having this sketchbook just as a sketchbook for myself, I would say. And so I just put in different stuff, like this is a part of me, it's a little place to me to hide, and it only is my thing, and yeah, it's my sketchbook and that's my signature, and that is me. Like a version of me. I didn't had bangs at that time, but I really wanted to have bangs, so I was like, my version is gonna have bangs. And it's kind of the start of how I drew my shibis, because I really like those shapes. But the head shape is gonna change with the time. It's gonna change to more a bean-like shape. Yeah. Cat plushie that I had at the time. I bought that, I believe, at the LBM. It's a convention about books that also has a really big manga and anime part, and then a cute little drawing. I drew a lot in this sketchbook with ballpoint pens. I really liked that at the time because shading and making structures was easier for me with ballpoint pens than with pencils. It just felt nicer. And I was annoyed by erasing stuff, so I was like, I'm not gonna erase stuff. I'm always destroying my paper while erasing stuff, so just was like, perfect. And in that time, I started drawing League of Legends characters, like their splash arts, with the ballpoint pens, and I had a lot of fun. I did it a lot in my classes in school. Like at that time, I still went to school. It was my last year of school. And especially in one of the classes where we talked a lot and didn't have a lot of to do most of the time, and just listening stuff, I drew to hold up my concentration. So I drew Jenna, and that is a skin of Katarina, that is a skin of Bart, that is a Diana skin. Really like how the hair is. And that's an Annie skin. Here are more sketches of me as a totally serious person that needs to be totally taken serious, definitely. And some other sketches. I think that's a practice of an ear. Don't know why I have that thing here. That's kind of cute, I just don't know what it is. Then this is Riven, Elise. That is something I just drew out of my head, a cute little sketch. And that was just a rent sketch because I was not feeling so well. Quite often I have a lot of rent sketches in this sketchbook, and they are continuing here, just putting out the pain of existing. That always helps me a lot. And that was, I believe, a drawing I saw in one of those how to draw manga books. In Germany we have this book collection, how to draw manga, where you learn to draw manga with a lot of tips, and that was, I believe, about perspective, and I liked that a lot. That were some crystals I saw. Yeah, those two I drew out of my head. And that's a pencil sketch that I did out of my head, really cute. I think that was a person I saw in person that I started drawing but never finished. An angel, another person holding books, like holding books, just standing positions, not a lot of action going at that time, not a lot of colors because I was too afraid to color stuff. I always was like, coloring is something that you do when you really like the drawing. And I never liked the drawing enough to color the stuff. So it was really rare for me to use colors in my drawings because I always was like, this sketch is not good enough, this sketch is not good enough. And horse, a standing person. That was the start of Nami splash art, but I didn't like it, so I stopped it. And that is something Greek inspired, where I did a lot of shading in. Yeah, and this is a rain sketch that I didn't finish. I really disliked the face. Like I had so much problems with having the nose in that position. I don't know if I can draw the nose, but I don't draw the nose with seeing the nostrils often. And I also did not like how the breast were positions. That's a little chibi of Ari from League of Legends. That is something really cool. In one of our classes, I think in English, we had the job to design a robot that we then should show other people. And we decided to have, or I decided, I don't know if we did it in a group or I did it alone, to have a robot that helps you in your home, cleans stuff for you and stuff, and is also a robot that you can communicate and talk to just to have a nice time. And her name is Eve. That's her hello thing. Hey, I'm Eve, let's be friends. And she, like, we wanted her to be really cute and be able to wink with her eyes, and that her face is able to do different emotions. And the legs can be extended so that she can reach different heights. And here you have some things that can stick to walls, so she can also walk on walls. Yeah, that was our plan of her. Then there, I was quite sad. Yeah. Sad. That's a person I saw in the bus. That's a little Kokma drawing. Here I drew an explosion of something. I think... I don't know where I did it. Yeah. And a little chibi drawing again. That's a sketch I started out of my head, but I just didn't like it. I had also in the sketchbook, like if you compare it to the sketchbook that I had beforehand, the sketchbook is way less filled because at that time I still was like, if I do not like a drawing, I'm just scrapping the drawing and going on the next page, and I was never filling the whole space. So that's why you have a lot of empty space here with a lot of started drawings. Here I was practicing a part of Faust from Goethe. Because we needed to recite it in front of the class. That was a boy. That's Callista from League of Legends. Started sketch. That's Tristana. Here I had then since a while, a black ballpoint pen. I always liked the black ballpoint pens better because they're black and not blue. But having a ballpoint pen that is black, where you can also draw well with, is not so easy to find, at least in my opinion. And most of the time I just took the ballpoint pens that I just had with me, playing around. That was the start of MiyaSekaia, that was the start of a Z-skin. Sketch, I don't have a lot to say. That is kinda creepy, but I also liked it a lot, like with the deepness of the kinda shading that is not really shading, but at that time I thought I did shading. Cute person. Then, do you remember the other brain drawing that I tried to do beforehand? I'm searching it out again. This one? I wanted to try it again, but I gave up way earlier. Another sketch that I gave up. Sometimes I just was already so unhappy with the shape of a circle or the shape of the head that I just scrapped the drawing already when I just had this simple shape done. Yeah, there I think I didn't like the position, someone reading and sleeping. Yeah, and I also had, I do not like that, I don't want to do that anymore, and I don't think that I do that a lot anymore in my sketchbooks. I don't like scratching through my sketches anymore, because even if it's a sketch I don't like, I still can learn from it if I see it and make it better, but if I scribble through it, it destroys so much that I don't see the mistakes so good. That was some rent art. Here I was continuing practicing something from Faust. And that is a chibi version of myself, again with the bangs. At some point in that sketchbook I even got bangs, but I didn't like them. Like, I was really happy getting the bangs and was like, yes, bangs. And then keeping care of bangs is hard, especially because I have curly hair. At the time I was not aware how curly they are, but they always curled from my head away and not to my head, the bangs. And getting them to a length where I like them so that they are not too long but also not too short was also really annoying. So I think I had the bangs for 3 months and then I let them grow out. More sketches. I really like this one. That's a really cute sketch. And the side profile is pretty good. I was really proud when I started learning how to do side profiles, because I had loads of problems with them. And I think, especially with reading other cans from Tuskiji Nao, I got way better with the side profiles. Also like this sketch, the long hair with the ears. That's also me saying hi to a friend of mine, me seeing food, a scrap drawing, cute person in a cute jumper. That was when I had a doctor appointment and I saw this person and drew this person. Yeah, an angel. I think I wanted to draw those shoulders, but I just didn't understand how that works, and then I just scrapped it. Another person I saw, I think also in the bus, but I'm not sure about it. Sketches that I scrapped really early on. Yeah. And this was a sketch at, those two were sketches at the Animagic. I went there with a friend of mine and I bought myself Copics because I always loved what people can do with Copics, and just drew it in there because I wanted to test them out, and I really liked the sketch. And then I was really excited because I liked how this turned out, so I thought to myself, I can do this with line art. But the line art's really bad because I just was sitting or standing in chaos and didn't really have the space to spend time on the line art. Yeah. Pencil sketch. This was a person we saw at the Animagic in really fancy Victorian clothes, and I really wanted to draw them, so I did that. A creepy bunny, a person being in love with someone, Minotaurus, perspective stuff. More perspective stuff. I think the person, I wanted them to draw something holding or reaching out to a sphere, but I didn't know how to do that. And some manatees. It was like the birthday of a friend, and he loves manatees. And always when he has his birthday, I'm drawing manatees, and that was the first time that I was drawing manatees for him. So I did a lot of studies, and that is then a cuter version. And that is then the anti-cute version of the manatee, and I made a scan or picture of that and sent that to him. And that's a self-portrait chibi for me. It was a 30-day drawing challenge by MiyaSekaia. I found that online somewhere. I'm not so sure if I already were watching YouTube art videos at that time or not. If yes, I probably watched a video from Art à la Carte. That's a person on YouTube that I watched a lot of stuff at summer to autumn of 2016. And here I still had my bangs and my clothes that I wore at the time. I really love to wear this outfit to conventions because I found it really cute. It was just really cute, yes. And then that is a person I sketched for a drawing I did for another friend, because he liked Ferdinand Foch a lot. I think that's a person from the First or Second World War in Germany, and he just found the name so funny. I did this sketch and then I did the full drawing and with a text where you have "fuck you" instead of "fuck you," and that's why he liked that person, because of the name. That was the second day of the drawing challenge, where you should draw in the style of an artist you like a lot, and obviously I needed to draw in the style of Tuskiji Nao because her art is just so amazing and her mangas are so amazing. And this is Shiro, I believe, and that was a other person there. And she always has so many details and flowy stuff, and especially her manga sites are so cool because she works a lot with cycles. So instead of reading from left to right, you read in a cycle the stuff, and so you can reread the manga again and again and read the texts in different orders depending on which cycle and which rotation of the cycle you decide to go to. Yeah, then a person from the back, I think that was at the Gamescom or some other person that I saw in person. And then the third theme of this challenge was gender bend. So I thought about drawing someone just dressing themselves up. That was definitely a person I saw. And I think I drew that stuff when I was already at the Gamescom at that year's, because me and friends always went to the Gamescom. It was kind of a tradition we started to have for 3 or 4 years or something like this. It was a lot of fun. And that is another sketch I did based on Tuskiji Nao, but that was not so good. Holding up her shapes and stuff without sketching first in pencil like I did here was really hard for me. That's a severe drawing, and that is definitely at the Gamescom. I saw this person and he was so huge and had long hair, so I was like, he looks really good. So I drew him in all the other people. And then that was the next part for this drawing challenge with your favorite song, and my favorite song at that time was Be Somebody from Thousand Foot Crutch TFK. So I tried to draw something and the person is reaching out to the other person and lights up the space for the person in the darkness, kinda. Then the fifth challenge was create a character for your favorite drink, and I thought like I love smoothies and juices, so I drew a smoothie girl surrounded with a lot of fruit, different kinds of fruits, and having fruit in her hair. And that was a sketch also for this drawing challenge, and I have the better version than here, where you had to fuse different mythical creatures, and I fused the fairy and the mermaid. a sketch. Here we played a game while waiting in the line at the Gamescom. The 7th day you had to draw your phobia, and I'm really afraid of heights. I'm especially afraid of heights when it's not really high, like when I'm standing on a chair or something. So I wanted to draw this, and I drew this sitting space where I was onto and really afraid. I don't know, I'm always more afraid to fall down if it's not so high. I'm also quite afraid of falling down when I'm walking, when I'm taking stairs. But it's working. A fox. A cute person. That was a study of a Japanese or Chinese person. I'm not 100% sure. I think that should... I'm not sure. And I really liked it, so I wanted to study that. And here I have different Asian hairstyles that I was trying out, because I was doing a drawing of for a friend of mine, where she wanted to have a person in a kimono with a puffy sheer skirt. And so I was trying out different hairstyles, obviously each hairstyle on its separate side, and I was showing the person all those hairstyles so she could decide which hairstyle she want to have. And this was a cherry blossom study. I don't know if you really can say it was a study, but for me it was a study at the time. I did for the color scheme then of that drawing, illustration I did, where I also was like figuring out if I want to put in a pattern and how. And this then were sketches for that illustration. So you had that hairstyle that she decided to have, then the kimono as top and the puffy skirt without legs. In the illustration I added legs spontaneously without sketching in, and you see it so badly. That was then, I was already living in Trier at that time. I moved to study media science in Trier, but as I said in the last sketch, the media science is not so much mine. And this was a bath we have in Trier where we went to, so I drew the bath and more foxes. And here I did some studies of hands. There I was definitely already watching art YouTube stuff, because beforehand I was never aware of that I should do studies and stuff, and there I started to do studies to get better. Because a lot of the YouTube artists were doing studies as well and talking about how studies can help, and I have huge problems with hands, so I did studies of hands. And then this was an illustration with Copics I did. I was really into using loads and loads of highlights, and I was really happy how I started using the Copics that I had. And I got better with using Copics by watching videos from Art a la Carte, because it took a little bit the fear away from me that I had with using Copics, because beforehand I was always too afraid to go from lighter colors to darker colors and back. So I always drew lighter colors, then the middle lighter color, and then the darker color. But I was always too afraid to then blend the stuff back. And with watching Art a la Carte and other YouTubers, I started to realize that I can blend back and work from dark to light and from light to dark without any problems, because the Copics nibs can hold that up and work with that really well. And that made the process of using Copics so much more fun and so much more appealing to me, that I started using them more, and I was really happy about it, because I was always like, I'm too bad for colors and everything, and there then stuff was turning out, and I just got more into using colors and more proud enough of myself to be able to use colors to a certain extent, even though I still have a lot to learn and stuff, but it was so nice to be able to use colors and not always only drawing stuff with sketches and in black and white because you're afraid to use colors. Yeah, some sketches, feeds. Here I tried out a weird circle pen that just weird. Feed sketches, and here I had an idea for a really cool sketch with the feather of one of those paradise birds, I believe. I'm not sure, I need to look up the bird name again. In German they are called Pfau, and then having the hair extending from the bird and some mysterious eyes looking out. I did that drawing later on, again, like I think 2 years later, when we had in the manga club where I was in the an exhibition with the topic of eyes, and I made those eyes orange, and I just really like this concept already, but the orange eyes are so much better. Even though, like, I did on purpose the blue eyes because I had the blue here, so I wanted to pick that up here again, but the contrast of the orange eyes with everything being cooled down was amazing. And this is 2 sketches of Katarina from LOL that I did for a friend at that time. I did not scan the finished product, but I was really proud of it. Even though I have to say I did the drawing on Copic paper, and I realized that I do not like the paper for Copics because it's just so terribly thin. And like, I was putting my hands on the paper and I felt like just by putting the hands on the paper, I felt like I was getting the paper ruined and broken and bleh. I also realized that if you draw on the back of the Copic paper, the Copics get really oily and smeary, and I didn't like that as well, and I also was not aware of that. Had later on in that year quite a few problems with that. And this is a little fairy drawing that I had, and another fairy drawing that I did here again. I think I wanted to make a bigger illustration out of it, but I never did. Here, this page I painted black because I wanted to work on it with probably colored pencils or something like this, like working from black then to put on colors, but I never did that. And this, you cannot see the sketch so well, but here's the other sketch of it, is Bib. It was like, she's called Bib because she's a librarian, and in German, the German word for librarian is Bibliothekarin, and the short is then Bib. And it was a work title because a friend of mine and I thought about maybe making a dating sim. And she was our first character, but we never went further than like drawing her a little bit. That was where I tried to draw her again because I was not so happy with this one, but I didn't finish it. And from here on, I only have notes, nothing special anymore. So that was my first sketchbook. I hope you liked this little sketchbook tour. And yeah, I thought it's a really cool idea to make after I did a current sketchbook tour with one of my with my oldest sketchbook, just so you guys can see the difference, and because I love to see the progress of artists, and I definitely plan to do all tours of all my sketchbooks until I only have to do sketchbook tours from my current sketchbooks anymore. So I wish you a nice day or week, and if you feel in any way, shape kinda bad, you can do it. I believe in you.